the midweek edition of Business Morning. Hello and welcome to the program. I am Bolaji Akinwale. It's been a very interesting week so far. On Monday, we woke up to the news that the value of the Naira at the parallel market window of the Forex market has appreciated to between 215 to 216 to the greenback. And yesterday on the program, officials of the central bank say they support the banks which have been rejecting foreign currency deposits, while BDC operators and other players in the market prefer to sell the dollar than to buy it. Now, this is a developing story, and we will continue to bring you updates. So today, we will track for you what the local units is being sold for later on the show, as we will get in touch with Mr. Harrison Owo, a BDC operator. Our discussions of the program is on the housing sector. Now, this has been a major challenge for the government and the citizens alike. Supply is far behind demand. Now, according to Adam Smith International, 100,000 new houses are being built annually compared with the need for over 700,000 and an accumulated deficit of some 17 million units. This is a worsening problem given Nigeria's fast expanding and rapidly urbanizing population. Getting the housing markets moving is an important priority for the Nigerian government at all levels. The housing sector is acknowledged globally as a major revenue driver, also for job creation and economic stability. However, in common with other Nigerian markets, the housing market is severely over-regulated, and the land titling system is particularly dysfunctional. As a result, it is estimated to cost approximately $50,000 to build a 3-bedroom house in the country. Now, this is compared to $36,000 in South Africa and just $26,000 in India. Up to 20% of this goes on regulatory costs. This prices out many poorer Nigerians from owning their own homes. Now, last year, January 16, former President Goodluck Jonathan launched its government solution to this growing crisis, which is the Nigerian Mortgage Refinancing Company. The MIRC, which Adam Smith International helped the Ministry of Finance to design and make operational, is based on the belief that improved access to mortgages gives people who would not otherwise be able to afford it the chance to buy their own property. The NMRC will provide a liquidity initially funded through the sale of bonds to mortgage lenders, allowing them to refinance their mortgage portfolio. The project is supported by a $300 million World Bank soft loan and comes hand in hand with the microfinance housing scheme intended to open up the housing sector to a wider range of the Nigerian population, and with the efforts to stimulate the construction sector itself, which suffers from a lack of skilled labor and exorbitantly high costs of materials. The question now is, how is the state of the housing sector? Do you have a home of your own? What will it take for you to have one? And now in the news, the Central Bank of Nigeria initiated name and shame campaign of banks' delinquent debtors gained further momentum today as more banks push out more names to the public. So far, the lists have the names of popular companies whose directors are prominent Nigerians appearing among the high non-performing loan defaulters. The efforts by the central bank to ensure that it brings back these monies has actually given the directive to the banks to ensure that they release the names of the debtors. And the Central Bank of Nigeria says that the foreign reserves are depleted by $4.9 billion in the first quarter of 2015. According to the Central Bank, the reserves fell by 14.3%, down from $34.24 billion at the end of December 2014 to $29.3 billion at the end of March this year. The bank, in its latest external sector development report for the first quarter, stated that the reserves for March dropped by $8 billion when compared to what it was at the end of March 2014. It attributed the decline in the external reserves to its intervention at the interbank market, funding of the retail Dutch auction system, and the bank's drive to stabilize the local currency. President Muhammadu Buhari has appointed Dr. Emmanuel Ibe Kachuku, the Executive Vice Chairman of ExxonMobil Africa, as the new Group Managing Director of the NNPC. Now, one of the tasks ahead for the new NNPC boss is the recovery of stolen funds in the oil and gas sector. And Harry Tagbin will be discussing this and more later on the show with Dolapo Oni from EcoBank. We'll take a look at what's going on in that sector. And finally, in the news, we're looking at falling oil prices, and that has become a threat to Nigeria's 2015 budget. As of this morning, we saw the Brent trading at $50.34 per barrel. The budget was passed on the basis of crude oil sales of $53 per barrel, production estimate of 2.2 million barrels per day, and an exchange rate of 190 to the dollar. All right, let's quickly move on now to our markets. I understand the Rotimi is standing by, but just before we bring in Rotimi, let's take a look at what happened at the various markets. We're looking at the interbank. We're seeing the 3-6 months rates led to a 2 basis point drop in average interbank rate to 13.74%. The overnight and 1 month rate increased 17 basis points to 22 basis points, respectively, to 9.04% and 13.78%. We're looking at the 3-6 months rates deeping, and of course, we had no OMO auction yesterday. At the Treasury bills market, average yield contracted 5 basis points to 13.8%. Demand momentum increased at the long end of the curve as yields decreased 84 basis points in total. We're looking at 59% of the traded bills were recorded at the market. And finally, at the bond market, bearish trade persisted on sell-offs. We saw average yields expanding up 7 basis points to 15.25%. Yield to November 2028 to November 2029 contracts, we're looking at that at 4 basis points on average. August 2016 and March 2024 post-expansion at the end of the trading session. And for the July 2030 bond, it's remained unchanged at 15.54%. Let's move over now to the equities market, where we're seeing demand in the financial services and consumer goods sectors prolonging the bulls to its second session as the all-share index appreciated 0.7% amid increased activity level.